So you may be aware that my wife and coaching partner Glay and I have been working successfully with clients from around the world for years now, helping them to break free from what to them often felt like an impossible challenge with hair pulling. And although we work with a lot of adults, I would say probably a good 80% of our clientele are actually young people, children, teens, and young adults. Now, obviously, when this is the case, it's almost always the parents that we're going to be consulting with about how we can help their loved one. And I can't tell you how many times, there will be, and we'll be in the midst of this exciting, and I would say often an enlightening conversation about what we're going to do for their child and how we're going to do it. And we may even be at the point where we're starting to get the ball rolling. They said, this all sounds great, let's get started. And so now we're talking about how we're going to make that happen. And then sometimes, just out of nowhere, this parent, could be a mom or a dad, will start to open up about how badly they feel about what they see as their own role in this thing. And how they fear this whole thing may just be their fault. Like if only they'd done this or that differently, their child wouldn't be suffering with this right now. Or if maybe they'd communicated with their loved one differently about this, or gotten them the right kind of help earlier, they wouldn't have to watch their child suffer the way they see them suffering now. It's like, now that we've gained their trust, they're opening up to us and they're confiding their deepest held fears and regrets about all of this. And there's a fair amount of guilt, Now, if you're the parent of a loved one who struggles with hair pulling, does any of this sound familiar? If so, know that you're not alone. Also, please understand that those kinds of feelings, they're totally normal and even understandable. As parents, we hurt when our kids hurt, right? And when our kids hurt sometimes, I would say probably far too often, we tend to blame ourselves. But I want to say this to you, it's not necessary. And none of this is your fault. Now, if you're not sure about that, and if you personally have been struggling with these kinds of feelings, as a parent myself, I want to help you out, okay? Stay tuned. Okay, so what about this? Should you be blaming yourself in whole or even in part for your child's challenges with hair pulling, or maybe the fact that they're still pulling or struggling with this after all these years? I think not. I'm going to tell you why. The first thing you get to realize is that if on any level you're willing to accept blame for your child's challenges with trichotillomania, then what you're really saying to yourself is that it's all because of you that your child has this problem. But in order to do that, it presupposes that you think you're the only or maybe even the most important influence in your child's life. I hate to break it to you, unless your child is very young, I would say 6 or 7 years old or younger, you are far from the only influence in their life. Think about this. Look, certainly, when your kids are young, you are indeed the biggest thing, the biggest influence in their world. You're probably pretty close to the only thing they pay attention to. You know it all. You're their paragon of virtue and truth and strength and protection. You say something and they believe it without question. So for sure there's that. And that's an age-appropriate relationship they have with you and you with them at that point. But you see, the older they get, we're talking about 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, the wider becomes their field of interest and the kinds of information that reaches them and that they're exposed to. Now, especially with YouTube, social media, and all that goes with that, it's not going to be just you anymore. They're starting to hear from a lot of people. Their friends, their teachers, their role models on TV or the internet. And a lot of those people don't think the way you think. Do you see what's happening here? Your child's values, again, age appropriately enough, are starting to shift and evolve into what will eventually be, as adults, their own individual set of beliefs and values, and they may be far removed from yours. That's why blaming yourself, holding yourself responsible for the choices your child makes as though you're the only thing they ever see, hear, or pay attention to, or perhaps model, isn't really being fair to yourself or them. To blame yourself is like saying you're the only reason they should ever make any choices at all. You're the only thing they should ever listen to. How realistic is that? Especially the older they get. The truth is, hair pulling almost never starts because of something the parent did. And it typically doesn't get worse because of the things the parent does. More often than not, the young person was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. Could have been in a classroom, totally bored, and they just sort of turned around and said, look what that person's doing over there. And that other person over there might be just sort of, kind of absent-mindedly tugging on their hair or maybe their eyebrows and eyelashes. They're bored too. And your child's over there going, I wonder what that's like. And so they just tried it themselves. And, they're going to feel that. And what they're feeling may be a whole lot more interesting, certainly more stimulating than what's going on there in the classroom. So no wonder they might keep on doing it. I can't tell you how many of our clients have told us stories just like that or close to it. And you see, the more you practice anything, doesn't matter what it is, the better you're going to get at it. And do they tend to practice hair pulling or plucking around you? No. I mean, they might, but most often it's something they do when they're by themselves or in some kind of situation or place where they don't really fear being observed. In fact, it has nothing to do with you. Are you seeing that now? This is why it makes no sense at all for you to be blaming yourself for the fact that your loved one is struggling with hair pulling or may still be struggling with it. And then I want to say one more thing to you. Let's say your young one is really good at something. Let's say like, piano or badminton or spelling or chess or English composition or karate or video games. Almost every kid is good at something, right? Let's say your child receives some kind of recognition for his or her skill. He or she wins a tournament or a competition of some kind. Are you going to stop everything and say, yep, it was all because of me? Are you going to do that? Look, even if you're the one that took her to practice every day or bought her first piano, or maybe you played a lot of chess with your daughter when she was young, when she wins her chess tournaments, are you thinking to yourself, yeah, it's all because of me? Are you doing that? Of course not. And why not? Well, of course, it's because your child absolutely has a role in the results he or she creates in her life. So then tell me, if you're not willing to take credit for your child's victories, why ever would you be so willing to take so much credit for the things your child has problems with? Doesn't make a lick of sense, does it? Of course not. So what do you think? Time to give yourself a break? Look, continue to do what you've been doing. Continue to seek out new and different avenues of help and support for your child. That's what a parent does. But always keep in mind, your child is on his or her path. You got to let them navigate that path. And at times, as hard as it may be, you got to let them fall down and pick themselves back up again. You shouldn't rescue them all the time. And think about this. Blaming yourself for your child's continuing challenges with hair pulling, in a very real way, that's a form of rescuing them. That's absolving them of their own role in, A, where they find themselves here today, and B, in their own healing. You can't and you shouldn't rescue them from accepting the kind of personal responsibility that ultimately they need to bring to bear in order to make this change that, frankly, only they can make. But what you can do is continue to be the kind, loving, caring, supportive parent I know you are. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe to our channel. We'd love to be able to notify you when we have new content, more helpful videos coming your way. And of course, feel free to share this video or this channel with anyone or in any online support groups that you think would benefit from it. And you know what? Go ahead and hit that reply button below and leave us a comment. Talk to us. What kind of things rang a bell for you as you watched this video? If you're watching this video at our Facebook community page, please leave a comment there. We'd love to meet and chat with you. Also, please do be sure to like and subscribe. When you do that, it really helps us out in our ability to continue to bring you new, helpful content every couple of weeks or so. Our goal, our purpose is simple. We're here to entertain, inform, and most importantly, to empower you to begin taking control of your hair pulling activity in ways you probably never thought possible before. And of course, if you or a loved one have been struggling with trichotillomania and you've been looking for meaningful help that'll actually work this time, look no further. Over the many years my wife and I have been doing this work, we've got hundreds and hundreds of satisfied clients and literally dozens of testimonials available for you to look at from folks who at one time were just like you and who are now finally free from what surely felt like slavery to chronic hair pulling. If you want to check out these testimonials, head on over to our website at www.trick-free.com. If you'd like to reach out to us directly, you can always write to us at relief@trick-free.com, or you can feel free to call us at any time of day or night toll free at 833-TRICK-FREE. I'm Robert Mantell with the Trichotillomania Relief Specialist. Thank you so much for watching. Here's wishing you an amazing trick-free week.